What's up? How you doing? I'm super happy to be here with Remy, one of the producers from the Museamp team.
What's up,
Hey Remy,
y'all?
what's up? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm excited. It's been an exciting morning for me. Meetings and working on music. Getting into Ableton and Pro Tools. It's been a fun morning so far.
Nice. So, the purpose of today's video, as you might know, we posted last week on our Instagram that we wanted you guys to ask us any questions on music, marketing, or any concerns you have within the music industry. And we would be addressing those questions on a podcast type sort of video. So here we are. We're going to be talking through some of those questions. And yeah, hopefully we can help you out.
Right.
So let's just get right into it. One of the questions that really stood out to us and that we thought was really interesting was about Spotify's new algorithm with less royalties but more exposure.
Let's. I guess we could be a little bit clear about what exactly they said.
Yeah.
From my understanding, it's that Spotify said that, hey, you're getting streams on your music, and those streams would normally be royalties, which are cents on the dollar. And then they were like, if you just give us those royalties, then we'll put it into marketing for you.
Yeah, a part of those royalties, yeah.
Yeah. A part, if you give a part of those royalties to us, back to us before they hit you, then we'll just market your tracks a little bit more.
So they'll push the music through their algorithmic playlists and
for like the music that comes after the playlist. It's not marketing like to put your songs in playlists. It's like when you finish listening to a playlist and then you have more songs that come up of like similar songs to what you were listening to, it'll put your songs there more. So
you get more exposure, more streams, but you make less money for them.
Yeah. I think the whole thing's a scam.
Well, in my opinion, it's made for Spotify's benefit, and it's not made looking for the artist's benefit, you know?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like, the royalties are already cents on the dollar. And
like basically no one in this world makes a living from just royalties anymore, or from just like selling your music, you know? And if you're gonna cut that even more, now it's gonna hurt those artists even more, because you have the biggest artists that find other sources of income, you know, either by touring or selling merch or having their own businesses. But for smaller up and coming artists that are basically they want to live off their music, you're just cutting them even more and giving them less and less money. It's already hard to make a living, but now it's basically almost impossible, because if you tell Spotify that you don't want that deal and you want to keep all your royalties, they're basically not going to promote your music at all.
The other thing is, I don't feel like it'll be that much of a difference for the people that do it, if that makes sense. Because think about where you get most of your music from. It's playlists, placements, and
independent most of the time. So like independent people that put you in their playlist, not Spotify.
Yeah. And even if it was Spotify, that's not what Spotify's doing with this money. They're not putting you in playlists. They're putting you in the algorithm. They're weighting your things in the algorithm. That's one. Two, I don't see Spotify doing the thing where it's like they're really weighting it to a point where it's super, super useful. Because at the end of the day, they still need that shuffle music to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they still need it to be similar to the music that you're already listening to, music that you're going to like. So if your song's trash, it's still trash. You're not going to pull people listening to it. I think if anything, I heard somebody talking about it at one point, that it has the potential to just lower the quality of the algorithm when they do it, because the people that are like lower and don't know any better are just going to do it because they're not making money from the streams anyway.
Yeah.
And then people who are higher up is like, no, I'd rather have the money. Plus, it's not like for them, it doesn't make sense. It's not worth it. And it's just going to lower the quality of like the algorithm music, which is a big
one. In my opinion, right, if you are a small artist and you are not going to get the money anyway, like those are the people that are basically going to be saying yes to that deal. However, if you look at it from like another perspective, right? If before this new rule happened, Spotify wasn't really pushing. They said they did, but Spotify wasn't really pushing like independent artists' music anyway. Like if you got in Spotify algorithm, you were basically being really lucky. Mostly it was you and independent playlists and you pushing it through your fan base. So
because the other part is, think of how many songs get posted to Spotify every day.
Exactly.
Even
I think
with
it's millions.
picking the thing, it's it's still marginal.
Yeah. So in my opinion, right, when I release more music, I don't think that this deal is something that I would be using, because I don't think that Spotify would help me so much more anyways, and then I would be losing all the money. And you can still promote yourself independently. If you sign it with a label, you can get the label to promote you, and you can get independent playlists.
And I think the other part is that, like, all right, they take your money and they put it into the algorithm on Spotify. How much control do you have over how they use that money? Do you get to pick where they concentrate that money to promote your music?
Exactly. It's very vague.
Do you have any control of like where your songs go? If you take the money to yourself, then you can go and look at, all right, can I reinvest that money into Facebook ads, which will help me? Can I reinvest it into setting up workflow systems that'll make emails easier for me so I can email more playlist people? Can I take that money and reinvest it into the songs that I'm making, even if it's just the meals that I'll be needing to eat while I'm in the studio? Like, there's other ways of reinvesting your money, which I feel will have a better return on investment than this Spotify thing. And then on top of that, I feel like, in general, I haven't seen the numbers, so I don't know for sure. For me, it feels and looks like this is something that it's just a switch that Spotify just made in the algorithm, and they'll just turn on when you decide to give them money. Like, it's not like they made something completely new. They just said, oh, we'll just increase the traffic to your thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, in your opinion, when you release music on Spotify, would you take the deal?
No. Oh, I will for sure not.
I think it is intended for like smaller artists that are not in it for the money, or are not in it to make money out of it. Their intent is not to make money out of it, so they would rather get exposure because they don't care about money anyways. People that are not looking to have music be their full-time job, or it's just like a side hobby kind of thing, then they might as well get some extra promotion because they don't care about the money.
I don't see where it helps, because even those people, it's like I don't care about the money either. I'm not in it for the money. That's even more reason for me why I think flipping that switch is not worth it. Like, I feel like I can do so much more with the money than with that Spotify thing, and clicking that is either just losing power, or it's just like, this money is only going to one bucket.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's rough.
For sure. Let's move on to another question, also on the topic of Spotify. And we were talking a lot about playlists and Spotify's algorithmic playlist and independent playlists. So one of the people asked the question, what's the best way to get your music added to the playlist that will generate organic streams, potentially followers and saves?
Well, Mark, you can talk on your experience because you got your track placed on a playlist. Yeah.
So on my experience, there's many different ways that you can go about it. And all the ways have pros and cons in them. So first of all, the first big thing that you have to know before you promote your music on a playlist is whether those playlists that you're going to be pushing your music to have fake followers and fake streams, or are real people with a real fan base. Like, there's a lot of shady people out there that go against the Spotify's terms and conditions and just generate a playlist with bots that just continue playing your music constantly, and then charge you money for it, and then you get streams, but those don't turn out to followers. You don't get any more followers anywhere else, and it's just like increasing the number on Spotify for no reason.
You get those streams while you're on the playlist, and as soon as you get taken off, it's not like you have any more fans, so it's not going to sustain you at all.
Exactly. So that's the first thing you have to look out to. How to know if a playlist is fake or not? Well, try and click the profile that made the playlist and try and investigate them a little bit. Try and go into their Instagram page. Do they have a fan base on Instagram? Do they have a fan base on YouTube? If you go into a page and you see that they have a fan base somewhere else, then probably they were able to put the traffic into Spotify and those are real followers. But if you go and see that it's some random person, then maybe you got something shady. Another thing to take into account when in terms of playlists is how much money are you willing to invest in it, because almost all playlists, like a lot of playlists will ask for money, even if they have real followers and real listeners. A lot of them ask for money because, I mean, they have something that is valuable to a lot of artists and they want to get compensated and paid for it. I'm not sure exactly how that stands in the terms of conditions on Spotify, because Spotify is strict with just those kind of stuff, and they have like some rules that don't allow for certain people to just charge a lot of money in playlists. But I mean, people do it anyway. So definitely know how much you're willing to spend. That's if you want to do it like yourself individually. Then there's also like platforms that you can use that basically contact you with those playlists, so you don't have to contact those playlists for you.
Yeah,
And there's a
stuff
really
like Submit Hub or
exactly. Yeah, I was going to mention Submit Hub. So again, Submit Hub has also pros and cons, right? Pros of Submit Hub is that like usually you get real playlists there with like not like real followers, because like shady like playlists will not even be allowed to use Submit Hub. So usually you're working with real playlists, but you don't necessarily like build a relationship with that playlister or with that like page. So it might feel like maybe they don't accept you because they don't know you, or they might be a little pickier with the music. I know that Submit also offers the chance for you to pay money so that the playlisters are obligated to offer you feedback, and then that's another cool way that you could look into investing the money. Obviously, it has a lot of pros, right? People will listen to your song, and you know for a fact they heard you. But then it also has cons, because all of this playlist that receives thousands and thousands of submissions, they might not even listen to your track, just write some random stuff and send it back to you. So everything has its pros and cons.
I highly recommend, if you're looking on ways of self-promoting, read the book, Everything You Need to Know About the New Music Business. It's by Ari Herstead. He has a great book, and his is very much like things to do for the independent artist. It's all about independent musicians and how you can move and make money and sustain yourself. Right? Great book. The other part is like some things like Submit Hub are kind of cool because it's not even just for Spotify playlists. It's also
it's
for blogs.
SoundCloud, YouTube, and Facebook.
Yeah. And honestly, probably one of the best ways, in my opinion, to also get on a Spotify playlist is to get pickup from blogs as well. Mm-hmm. Because you getting picked up by blogs will have like playlists going, oh, this is a cool artist. They're making some cool music that I should listen to because it's been co-signed by these blogs and whatnot. So, yes, Spotify playlists are important. Just make sure it's not the only thing that you're looking at. Instagram pages that cover music and music reporting, blogs, local newspapers.
And the advantage if you use like external blogs is that not all those streams will translate to Spotify, because those people that are reading the blog might have Apple Music, might have Amazon Music, and those people will also give you streams somewhere else. So you make sure that you're getting real people.
Yeah, diversify. Sure.
One of the things that is cool though about doing the right promotion is that if you find one good playlist that is, real people promotes your music, a lot of other playlists that are similar to that copy copy of other people's music, right? So if you make a little investment for one playlist and it's a good song, suddenly 4 or 5 playlists will add you out of nowhere, and boom, your song gets pushed up, and suddenly you're getting hundreds of streams every day.
The music industry is a small world.
Mm-hmm. So it's all about that first playlist or that first person that promotes you, and then usually you grow from there.
And then on top of that, when you get placed on playlists, make sure you share the playlist and try and do your best to have the people who manage the playlist notice that you supported the playlist. Playlists just like that. They like when somebody shares their stuff. I know I run a New Music Finds playlist every Friday. I enjoy when I get shared. It's just nice. And when not that like I go and like search out, but like especially artists that do share my stuff, I make sure I follow them usually, just because it's partially a courtesy, and usually if I share them on my playlist, it's because I enjoy their music, and I want to follow them and see new music from them, right? So
For sure.
Once you get noticed, make sure you stay noticed.
Mm-hmm.
Dope. Right, what else we got, Mark?
Let's move on. So this is a pretty interesting question. So in what order do you release songs and how?
All right. This is something I've actually been thinking a little bit more on, like release strategy, just because I've been getting more songs like finished / close to finish. I've released 2 songs in like the last month on Quadio. Thinking of like release strategy, I think it's really important to know what you're going to be doing leading up to it, whether it's a week or 2 weeks, and what you're doing like right afterwards. Like you should have like the first hour after you upload the track like planned out. Like what Instagram pages you're hitting, where you're putting it on your Instagram, what your post is going to say, the hashtags, your link set up on your like link tree on your Instagram and Twitter and all that.
Yeah.
Have like all of that is super important.
Yeah, in my opinion, I always begin promotion like even a month and a half in advance. So like if you're working with like a distributor for independent music, you send your song out to Spotify a month and a half in advance, and then a month in advance you submit, or like a month and a half in advance you submit it for like Spotify playlist consideration, and then that's where you begin asking for pre-saves. And so it begins way earlier than your
and I think that kind of I'm of the opinion that kind of changes depending on how much of a following you have. So I'm very much of the opinion that when you are smaller, pre-marketing doesn't help much. If you only have 2 followers, promoting ahead of time isn't worth it, right? What you really need to have is a strategy for when it drops, because once it drops and you're promoting, then you have something that when you bring somebody in, they will be like, oh, I can listen now. I listen to it. This is cool. I'm going to stay here. When you don't have a following and you're promoting your song early, you're like, hey, come back in a couple months or a couple weeks when I release this track. And they don't know who you are, so they have no reason to come back.
For sure. But back to kind of the question, when you let's say that you have right now 4 or 5 ideas, right? And you're thinking, okay, I want to build some sort of strategy, some sort of brand behind this. What order should I release them on? Do you have any tips on that?
I think it depends. I feel like it depends on whether you're going to release them as like an EP or an album, or you're just going to be releasing singles. If you're just releasing singles, my mind would go save your best for last and sprinkle in the rest of them throughout.
Mm-hmm. Maybe have your best 2 songs should be the first one to grab people's attention, and the last one to build up to it, kind of.
Yeah, I think that's an EP. An EP, I think the singles should be your like second and third best songs, for sure. Like your top 2 songs should be the 2 singles for the EP or the album. I kind of I'm of that way of thinking, because that's how I end up noticing albums. When you're dropping singles, you're just trying to build momentum. So you're just trying to start on the lowest threshold, so you pick up the people that are more likely to stay with you long term.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they stay for a mediocre song, they will definitely stay for your best song, right? So, not to say like put out crap music, but we tend to know which ones are going to be like hits, and which ones are more like chill songs, or something that is more for the people that already like your vibe and the way you make your music, and will stay with you just because of the vibe that you create, not just because the one song is super good.
Yeah, for sure. And the second part of the question, in terms of how to release music, where there's basically 2 ways that you can do that. First of all, independently, and second of all, signed to some sort of label. If you want to do it independently, you just have to come look for a good distributor that will put your music in all the platforms. You can find many online: CD Baby, DistroKid.
On that, Ari Herstead on his website has a great article where he compares all of the distributors, so you can see all the pros and cons of all of them on one web page.
What's the article name again?
It's Ari Herstead's website.
Nice.
We can link it in the.
We'll definitely link it in the bio.
ARIHERSTAND. That's how you spell his name.
And then the other way of kind of releasing is if you want to go through an independent label, so like an independent basically project or company that will take your song and promote it for you and basically sign it. And then that's very, very different. You're supposed to pitch it to those people, look for their A&Rs, and then if they sign it, sign a contract with them, and there you go.
All right, to clarify, the actual link is Ari's Take, ARISTAKE.com. That's his like blog where he posts all of these articles.
So we'll definitely link it for people to check it out. Sounds good. Let's move on to the next question. So big question here, but clutch, definitely very important. How can I make money as a new music producer?
I think that's the question that we're all trying to pan out and figure out new ways of doing, because part of it is that the old ways that people typically make money as a new music producer are kind of starting to get crowded, to say the least. Like, you can make beats and sell beats. That's cool. It works for a lot of people. You can sell them on BeatStars. You can sell them on, I know Timbaland's building a new platform. Beat Club. That's what it is. Timbaland's building a new platform. People post and sell off of YouTube links. Happens. It's starting to get overcrowded.
Definitely. So if you want to get into selling beats, don't go into it for the money. That's my suggestion. If you love making instrumentals and you love just working with different artists and having, a repertoire of many artists that you've worked with, do it for the love of it, not for the money, because it's gonna take a long time for you to make money of it, just because it's so oversaturated.
I'm personally of the opinion that if you are new to producing and you're looking to make a profit eventually, you are playing a long game.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to strategize for the long term.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to start, it's not like you start selling t-shirts and you're making money tomorrow.
And anything you get into will not give you instant money unless you do some freelance work, which is something that I also wanted to get into.
Yeah.
You can do like some freelance work. If you think about it, as music producers, we have certain skills that other people don't. Like, for example, being able to work with audio, being able to write music. So if you hit up any company that has a podcast, for example, you could be mixing their podcasts.
Yeah. I highly recommend, like, if you're a producer, selling to artists is only one avenue, and that avenue is super crowded. If you hit up like some of your favorite podcasts that don't have music yet, be like, hey, I would love to make you an intro.
Yeah,
I would love to make you an outro, like a theme music for your podcast. I would love to help you with the sound design.
Yeah,
people eat it up, and it's
for sure.
It's an easy. That's probably one of the easiest now because podcasts are getting so popular. So.
Yeah, for sure. So as I was saying, right, come up with creative ways to do freelance work. Freelance work meaning you do work for someone else and they pay you for it. And yeah, that's kind of like the only way that comes to mind for you to get quick money.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Some other ways of making money, placements on media. We already mentioned podcasts, but also commercials are a big one. If you can get music on TV shows, those are big checks.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that does take education though. You're gonna have to learn how to pitch, where you need to be submitting music, because that's not really going to be the same as submitting music to Spotify, or you got to know the websites where producers and TV directors are going to submit, like look for those music for their shows.
For me, to conclude it overall, if you're looking to make money as a producer and you're only looking to make money, that's your problem. Don't get into something because of the money. Get into something because you really love it, and then look at that and be like, okay, how can I make money from it? And then go the long-term way and build some sort of empire or fan base or whatever you need to make money out of it. But don't go into something just for the money, because in the end, you're going to see that quick money is very hard to get, and you're going to get tired of it, and it's going to lead you nowhere.
Going off of that, a related topic, I highly recommend that you create your strategy based on the end goal. Think about where you want to be. Think about what you want to be making music for, and work towards that. Work on skills that'll get you closer to that. Look at try and get jobs and find ways of leveraging those audio jobs that you're doing for like podcasts or shows or whatever to learn how to apply those skills and bring it back to how you're producing, how you're connecting with artists, how you're connecting with people inside of the music industry, and making sure that you're continuing to build towards your end goal and keep that end goal in your head. Your end goal is probably the most important thing that you have.
A lot of people, like when you ask people what do you want to be in 5 years, they're like, I don't know. Like plan. Don't be scared to plan that out. Have a plan. Have a 5-year plan and how you're gonna get there. So then do a 2-year plan. How are you gonna get to those 2 years? And then just go down and down to where it comes to every week. So now you have a goal every single week that will lead up to your 5-year plan.
There's a great resource from Tim Ferriss's blog that he goes over in the 4-hour work week, which is called dream planning, which is probably one of the best exercises I've ever done. So look that up too.
There was another question that was basically on the same topic, and you already mentioned it. So I just wanted to expand a little more on it. So, what is the best platform to sell beats?
I mean, like we mentioned before, people make money on BeatStars. People make money on YouTube. It's finding a place where it's natural to you to just make sure you're consistent, because that is going to be the biggest factor whether you can actually turn a profit, is how consistent you are. Because the more consistent you are, the more your music will get shown to people, the more people will look at it and be like, I can drop $50 on this.
If I got into selling beats right now, what my strategy would be is to get into a platform where you might get the algorithm to push you a little bit. It's a platform like BeatStars, but don't rely on that, because there's a lot of oversaturation, like so much. Either you go on YouTube, BeatStars, anywhere. There's so much oversaturation. So try and come up with a unique way to market your beats, right? It's not so much about where you sell them, but how you sell them. Because in the end, where you sell them is the place where people just go and buy it. So if you get someone to go to your website to buy your beats, you probably already did the work to sell it to them, right? So figure out a cool marketing way to sell your beats to artists that is unique and that makes you break through the clutter.
And if you're gonna sell beats, you better be making beats every day.
Oh yeah,
every day. You post a new beat every day. One thing that we didn't mention: loops and sample packs. So if you're into like sound design really heavy, maybe you start putting together sample packs and sending them to producers.
For sure. MIDI packs as well are becoming very, very common right now.
If you're really great at an acoustic instrument and
for sure
record well and get into a good space to record,
for sure,
those are great. Especially if you have the skills to add a little bit of effects and make loops out of what you play that sounds really good.
Yeah,
people eat it up, whether you play drums, saxophone, keys.
Yeah, think about how many people go on Splice looking for guitar loops, bass loops, any instrument.
Yeah,
and if you can create your own and you know their quality, people will like go crazy for them, because people will just want loops that are unique and that nobody else can find. So if you're able to get those, I think that's a very good strategy. Obviously, you need the knowledge.
This guy on Instagram through Grammy U that has gotten. He's a keys player, and he's gotten placements with like O.G. Parker and on Bryson Tiller's recent album. Like, it's a thing.
Dope.
That is a thing that producers do now.
Yeah, if you're a singer, vocal packs, especially for a lot of producers that don't have access to singers, if you can sell your royalty-free vocal lines, that can make you a lot of money, and that can build you a big fan base. Because they're very like looked after. Like if you go and Splice, the same vocals are being so overused. So definitely that. And then I would say like sample packs and sound packs are a little like saturated, because a lot of people are very good at sound design. So I would get into it if you know that you have something special when it comes to sound design, that you're different. Yeah. But don't just start selling beats doing the same that everyone else does, because it's just not gonna help you break through that clutter.
And no matter what you do not be that person that just goes, takes a sample pack, and resells it. That is literally the worst kind of person.
Yeah, that's horrible. I mean, when you buy a pack, most of the places will make you agree to some terms and conditions, including that you shouldn't re-give or resell. So definitely don't do that.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to one more question. What's one easy way to bump up your social media game? Quick tips here. Come on.
What do you got, Mark? You got one?
So here's I got one, right, and this is the whole philosophy that we have behind Museamp and the whole like marketing strategy that we use with the people that we work with, and that is figuring out what your story is, right? You want to break through the clutter, you have to be different. But guess what? Every person is different. Every person has a different life. Every person is into music for a different reason. Figure out what your story is and what makes you unique, and then use that everywhere. Apply that to how your music sounds. Apply that to how you speak on social media. Apply that to the kind of colors you use. Apply that to the posts, and then be consistent. So what happens? You're being consistent and you're putting something unique. People in the end will come to you because you're interesting. So that's my basic big global tip.
Yeah, this I'm gonna say a tip that I got from Adam Ivy, which is like pick your three buckets, three main topics that you're gonna focus on your social media. If you're doing music, music is probably one. Are you gonna focus on producer videos, on your performances? Are you an artist? Are you gonna focus like pictures of you as an artist, like photo shoots and stuff like that? That's another bucket that you can do. Lifestyle stuff of, your fits for the day or what you're eating or how you're scheduling your day. That's another bucket that you could do. And pick three buckets, 2 to 3 buckets where you can focus and keep your feed consistent, because what you want to do at the end of the day is have people have an idea of what they're going to get when they go to your page.
For
So when
sure.
they go to your page, they kind of know what to expect. And if they go on Instagram and they want to look at a certain thing, they know where to go.
That should be in your caption, or in your profile like description.
Yeah.
Like 2 sentences, exactly what you do. And
Yeah.
then also have a very specific niche or like people that you're looking for. Like literally for our page in Museamp, we have a list of 15 to 20 people that are our target audience. And then we describe what our target audience looks like, so that we know exactly who we're referring to when it comes to promoting stuff, ads, or looking for pages to collaborate with that have similar fan bases to us. Know exactly who you're looking for, because otherwise it's very vague.
And have a swipe file. Like have a list of pages that you reference for design inspiration. Have mood boards on Pinterest.
Mm-hmm.
Have mood boards on Pinterest of how you want to keep your visuals consistent with, the brand and what you like, right? And I guess at the end of the day, just make sure it's natural to you, because if you're trying to fake it on social media, it's only going to last so long and you're going to get tired of it eventually.
That's why we promote the whole idea behind your story, because if you're building a brand behind who you are, behind your values, and behind what you stand for, it's going to be very easy. You're just going to get a camera and talk, be yourself, and people will come to you and follow you because of that.
Yep.
So yeah.
That's a big one.
Oh yeah, baby. So let's get into some other topics that I definitely wanted to talk about with you, right? You're a big producer when it comes to workflow. You're a very organized guy. You love to have everything in its right place, and that's very important.
If you've been following the Muzeamp page, you saw my purple folders. Yeah. And the hashtags that I use for the organization. It's a really big thing for me.
So how important is workflow for you? How much does it shape your music and the way and how fast you finish music? And any tips to like get out of the trap of having 1,000 unfinished songs and just not being able to sit down and get it done?
Yeah, like this is a really big one. And I've actually had a couple conversations on the topic that I'm going to talk about a little bit. So one really big thing for if you're doing music and you're in the music industry, so much of your day and your career is going to be very volatile, right? So having all of the rest of the fluff, like what you're eating in the morning, what you're going to do when you sit down, what your warm up is like, how your hardware is set up, having as much of that organized and taken care of without you having to do anything, the easier it's going to be to keep your energy focused on the thing that you need to move forward. Yeah. Right? Because I have my folders so organized, when I sit down and open Ableton, I don't need to worry about what I'm going to name my projects. I don't need to worry about where they're going to get saved. I don't need to worry about finding the project when I go back to work on it. that saves me in a single day. It'll save me an hour of time that I need and should be using producing and getting better.
Mm-hmm. And how are you able to beat so for example, when I'm working on a song, right, and I'm getting to the like last 10%, the last 10% tends to be a very technical side of music. You're working on mixing or little details, and the creativity of the producer tends to just like live. You get songwriter's block or producer's block, and you stop feeling passionate about the project just because you have to listen to it so many times and work on it for so many hours. What's your tips on overcoming that?
For me, number one is to recognize that I'm not in music. I'm not making the songs just because I'm passionate about the song. Getting a song done is not the end goal. It's having a career in music, and to do that, I just need to get the things done, right? You need to keep being productive. I need to be consistent as a producer to not only deliver for artists that I work with, but also to keep my skills warm. And on top of that, when you have that in mind, when you have the reason of why you're getting the tracks done, then you can focus on, all right, I need to get the track done. I need to have it polished and sound good. What do I need to do? What are the next steps? And sitting down when I feel like I'm almost done and I feel like there's a little bit more, just turn off the screen, like there's like a sleep mode, and then hit play so you can't see anything. This is something that I'll do regularly. I'll turn off the screen, hit play. So it's just coming out of the speakers. I can't see my DAW. I can't see anything. Take a note card. I love my index cards. Take a note card. Take a pen. Write your notes. Then after you listen to the entire track, take your notes. Make a to-do list out of the notes that you have. Make a to-do list out of the notes that you took while you were listening.
I've used this, and it definitely works.
And then go back and then take care of all those notes.
For sure.
Because then it's just like actionable items. It's literally just checking boxes.
Once
you check those boxes, then it's like, all right, sit down, listen to the track again. Take your notes, go back. Check all the boxes, do it again until you're just like, all right, I'm done. Then once you say you're done,
do it again.
put it down for a day, come back 24 hours later, and then do it again.
For sure. I heard a tip on social media. I'm pretty sure it was some YouTube video that I found that gave a really good tip on how to know when your song's finished. And so if you listen to you, as you said, turn off your screen, just play, and then close your eyes and listen to the song from the beginning to the end. If there's anything that makes you make like a facial expression or makes you like open your eyes to be like, I didn't like that, the slightest detail, that means it's not finished. But if you're able to listen to the whole song relaxed and just enjoying it, and you don't hear any like little detail that makes you wake up. So if you don't wake up when you're listening to your song, then there you know it's finished.
Yeah. And the best thing to do, which I love doing, is like having it within a playlist of other songs and playing the other songs, and then eventually your song comes on.
Mm-hmm. So you can reference it.
Yeah. So you can reference it, and also it's like, all right, does this fit in the context of where I'm going to be playing it? Mm-hmm. Because if it fits, then when you have it in that playlist, what we were saying, like when you were saying like listen to all the way through, if something takes you, if you're listening in that playlist and it doesn't wake you up immediately and go, hey, this is your song, other than the fact that you've been listening to it for 48 hours straight and you just have it memorized. Like if it just feels like it's natural listening in that playlist, then you're done. Don't worry about, even if you have like little things, déjala, put it and let it go. Just send it. Because at the end of the day, putting out music is more important than having it perfect.
Yeah, I definitely am the person that believes in quantity over quality when it comes to getting started in music. If you're in a different kind of step in the music process, you already learned, you already know what you're doing, and you're kind of like just building your brand professionally, then quality is super important. But if you're just getting started, dude, like I'm like, if you haven't finished 10 to 20 songs, if you don't have 10 to 20 songs that you're fully finished, you shouldn't even consider yourself that, a professional producer yet, because you just don't have that experience. So just finish. And with the quantity will come the quality. With the consistency and the habits of just finishing, then suddenly you're going to get better. You're going to start hearing things you didn't hear before. You're going to start investing in plugins that help your music become better. And then the quality will come.
On that, if you're a new producer, I'm going to give you a tip. that if you do this, I promise you will get exponentially better. When you start working on a track, and you're just like, this is a track that I want to work on past making a loop for an hour, because you know how what I'll do a lot of times, I'll sit down on my DAW, just make a bunch of ideas, and then sometimes I come back to them, sometimes I don't. If you create ideas like, this is cool, I need to come back to this, when you come back to it, set a deadline for when you need it to be done. And no matter what, put it out at that deadline. Like, no matter what it looks like, when you get to that deadline, stop working on it, put it out. This will teach you two things. One, it'll teach you to keep yourself accountable, keep promises to yourself, which is super important. And it'll teach you to look at, to kind of inside of that, keeping yourself accountable, making sure you're listening and getting like what your checklist is. You're going to start polishing what the checklist is going to be every time you're making music. And most importantly, a third thing, it's going to start showing you how long it actually takes you to make and release music. Because if you set a deadline for a week and at the end of that week you're not quite where you want to be, then you can go back and look at, all right, I didn't get where I wanted to be in a week. Why didn't I get there? Did I bite off more than I could chew? Was I just not working fast enough? Was I not efficient in the time that I was working? And then after that, you can either polish the things that are going to help you finish the music faster, or you can be like, all right, I'm working on this kind of track. It took me this long the last 3 times I made a track like this. Maybe my deadline should be 2 weeks from now, because that's how long it's going to take me to do this kind of work.
And then you polish.
And then on top of that, when you do this consistently, when you go to sit down with artists, A&R, like podcasts where you're going to be making music, you can actually go, hey, it'll take me 2 weeks, and actually be confident in that, because you've done enough work to know that's how long it takes you.
For sure. Dude, that's an awesome tip. For sure. I mean, let's just end on that. That's an awesome tip. Like, if you have to take something from this conversation that we have, do that. Because think about it. You're going to start, if you're able to do that consistently, suddenly you're going to get faster. So you're going to finish more music, and you're going to build a habit. You're going to build a series of steps that you follow when making music. So suddenly you're going to see that even though the songs might be very different, the steps you follow are very similar. So you're going to be, okay, today's songwriting, boom, boom, boom. Then after production, mixing, mastering, you're going to have a time and a goal for everything. And if you go back to what we were talking about having that 5-year goal or having a 2-year goal, if you're able to know how long it takes you to put out music, you will be able to know better how many songs will you have in a year, how many songs will you have in 2 years, and how do you want those songs to look like, and how much do you want those songs to grow.
And so once you set that routine, you can actually, it makes it easier to test new things. Like, it's like, all right, I want to try something different. When you try something different, you can actually see how it affected you, because you know what it would normally be. For sure.
Let's just end on this point. I really like that tip. And, I think we got a pretty good conversation. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you want more of this, we would love to do more of this. Just let us know if you liked it, and we'll make sure to put out more content like that. We like helping you with exactly your doubts. So we love asking you what you need and then delivering it to you.
Make sure to check out the Muzeamp page for tips that we post every day. And if you ever have any questions, throw them there. We'll make sure to either answer them in the post or answer them in a Q&A.
Yeah. If you want to follow our project, we have a lot of things coming up. We've been working, literally meeting weekly, more than once a week, to get this project for you. And
we're hustling. We want to bring the value.
Yeah. Exactly. We're here for to help you. So, yeah. All right. Peace.
All right. Awesome. Peace, y'all.